So welcome to the SV2 Fall Gathering. I'm Bill Brownell, I'm the SV2 Board Chair. First of all, congratulations for passing the IQ test of making it through the parking lot and up to this location, which is not that easy, I know. But I'm glad you found it, and I hope you're having a good time. So this is my favorite SV2 event of the year because we get a chance to hear from our grantees and hear about the good work they're doing and some of the impact they're having, which is ultimately what we're all about at SV2. SV2, for those of you who are new, is a group of 200 individuals and families that come together to do three things, really. One is to learn together, learn about social issues and what are the key intervention points that we have, and also learn about effective giving and strategic giving. Secondly, we come together to give. So we participate in grant-making rounds and also impact investing rounds. And out of that, we make grants and investments. And so the third area of working together is around having impact. And so that is through our grants, but also through the Beyond the Dollars work that we do with grantees, bringing our expertise or our networks or other resources we might have. And so ultimately, we're all about community impact. At the same time, we have an effect on the givers themselves. I was at a partner circle the other day where we were telling stories about our experiences as partners, and I was struck by several people in the group said, SV2 has changed my life. And I was thinking that, well, that is pretty striking. And what it really meant, I think, was that these folks that had become partners had found that by joining this community and joining forces on trying to do good in the world, had found more meaning and more purpose, and were really changed by that. So I think in addition to having social impact, we actually changed the givers while we're at it. We are a thriving community and a successful community. We are in the middle of a leadership transition right now, so I wanted to touch on that. Our previous executive director had a really successful run of around 5 years, but stepped down in the middle of September. And I don't know if she's here. Is Jen here? Okay, so Jen Rattay stepped down in the middle of September. I think some of you may have come to her goodbye party, and we had a couple of goodbye parties, so she asked me not to make this another one. But I did want to recognize her and just take a moment to recognize the many contributions that Jen Rattay has had to SV2 over the last 5 years. So, Jen, if you could stand up. Oh, there she is. Okay. Wow. I didn't see you. I'm glad you're here. So, Jen is continuing on as a partner along with her husband Scott, so we're really happy that she's still going to be involved and is helping on a number of things. So, so thank you, Jen. And on this transition, we have a search committee that's in the process of working to look at new candidates for the lead role. But the transition has been really smooth for a couple of reasons. One is Jen gave us a long time to know about her plans. And secondly, the staff team has been incredibly good and cohesive and has not missed a step as we go into a whole new program year and has really been working so well together. So thank you to the staff team for their... And thirdly, another reason for a smooth transition is one of the staff team members has really stepped up and has taken on the interim executive director role, and this is Jody Chang, who has been a partner for 10 years, has been on the board, has been our director of grant making, and is just a lovely person who I really enjoy working with and has really stepped up in her first month as interim executive director and is doing great things with this role. So thank you, Jody. And with that, I want to introduce Jody, who's going to talk about the program.
So thank you, Bill, and thank you all for being here tonight. It is really, really great to look out and see all of your faces. I'm so glad you're here. I want to say I think it's very meaningful for us to be gathered tonight. These are challenging times. They're uncertain for our nation, certainly our world, and our own Bay Area. And they're especially challenging for our most vulnerable neighbors. So that's all the more reason why it's important to take time to gather, to be together, to connect, and to both learn about and celebrate the really amazing work that is happening in our midst. We are so grateful for the SV2 community of really kind and brave people. Each of you is doing so much with your time, your resources, your energy to make the world a better place. And we're really especially grateful for that now in this season. So the theme of tonight's event is Pathways to Opportunity. We've heard a strong desire from our partners to develop a systems-level approach to address entrenched inequities in our Bay Area community. The Bay Area is home to some of the largest companies and highest incomes in the world, but it's also a place of staggering inequality. And any approach to making our community a place where everyone thrives really needs to look at the systemic reasons behind these inequities. The systemic things that have prevented our neighbors from accessing a living wage, affordable housing, and a fair and equal education. Tonight, we're honored to get to hear from some of our community's strongest leaders, right here, who will be sharing about how they're working tirelessly to dismantle the kinds of systemic inequities that are affecting our neighbors and create broader pathways to opportunity for everyone. Before we get to them, I just want to share a little bit about what else will happen tonight. You'll hear an update on the state of SV2. So we'll be talking about what's been going on around SV2 in the past year and what this coming year has in store. And then we'll have a chance to hear from our newest grantees and impact investees. So first, we'll actually hear about the work of two of our newest impact investees, Open Invest and Learners Guild, and that'll be in video format. And then we'll hear in person from three of our newest grantees, CollegeSpring, SV at Home, and the Stride Center. And we welcome you to please stick around after the presentation for more conversation, more connection, and also more food, dessert, and coffee. I want to make a special thank you and appreciation to our event sponsor, Legacy Venture, for making this event possible tonight. So thank you, Legacy Venture. This past year at SV2 was a banner year. We had our highest year of grant making ever, making over $500,000 in grants and impact investments. And including partner follow-on funding, invested over $1 million in our grant and impact investment portfolio. SV2 has now funded over 90 of our community's most high-impact organizations. We are humbled by the work of this powerful group of change makers. This year, we welcomed several spectacular new grantees and investees to our portfolio. In our Economic Opportunity Grant Round, we welcomed the Stride Center. In our lightning round on affordable housing, which was a new sector area for SV2, we welcomed two lightning grantees, Destination Home and SV at Home. And we also held a lightning round focused on college access and success. And our two new grantees from this sector are CollegeSpring and You Aspire. Our Impact Investing Working Group made two new investments in early stage mission-driven companies, Learners Guild and Open Invest. To learn more about this past year at SV2, check out our gorgeous and hot off the press impact report for 2016-17. So each of you has a copy on your seat. And if you're sitting next to an empty seat, take one for a neighbor. And thank you all for making this past year at SV2 one for the books. Since SV2 recently finished implementing our 2014-17 strategic plan, we embarked in this past year on a new strategic planning process to set SV2's direction for the next 3 years. We sought candid feedback from our grantees. We surveyed our whole partnership and held a series of workshops with our board and the whole SV2 community, all in service of helping us think through the direction and focus for SV2's future. This work culminated in setting 4 new goals that will direct SV2's focus and energy over the next 3 years. First, to accelerate the Bay Area region's culture of giving. Second, to grow the SV2 partnership. Third, to strengthen the support that SV2 provides to its grantees and investees. And fourth, to build SV2's internal capacity for impact and growth. And as I share what we're going to be doing in our programming in this current year, you'll see that so many of the really exciting ideas we have flow directly out of the strategic planning process, the fresh ideas and thinking that came out of our partnership in that process, and reinforce these 4 goals. I'm very excited about our programming this year. In response to partner interest, we've created a Pathways to Opportunity year that will encompass, in the fall, a series of learning sessions that will flow into a spring grant round, all focused on proven, evidence-based pathways out of poverty. In the fall, we'll offer 3 learning sessions. Each will be a panel of really outstanding experts who will be speaking from a research, funder, and practitioner perspective about the actual interventions that are proven to truly move people out of poverty and into living wage work. Next week, on October 12th, we're offering the second of these sessions, and I want you to know about it because it's very exciting. It's an education-focused panel on community schools as an integrated approach to education reform. We'll be recording it for those who aren't able to attend, but I encourage all of you who are able to come. It'll be great. Then in December, partners who are interested will take the learnings from the fall sessions and work in discussion and kind of digest them a little bit and think about what focus areas they want to focus the spring grant round on. In addition to this year-long Pathways to Opportunity effort, we're also offering 2 sets of lightning grant rounds this year. This is a more streamlined and shorter amount of time approach to our grant making. In the fall, we'll be doing a lightning grant round focused on resilient youth that'll kick off in November and repeat in January. And then in the spring, we'll be offering a lightning grant round that's cross-sector, which is new for us. So we'll be looking at different sectors. The commonality is that all the nonprofit applicants are organizations who use technology solutions to address social challenges. Then later this winter, we're launching our first ever advocacy learning series in response to partner interest, really wanting to better understand the role of advocacy in philanthropy. So stay tuned, more to come on that. And our impact investing working group is meeting monthly to conduct due diligence on potential deals. Any partner is welcome to join this collaborative working group at any time. Or you can also just pop in and audit a meeting just to see what they're doing and check it out. We're also offering a learning session on October 23rd that will feature pioneers from the early impact investing movement. So that'll be in the evening and promises to be a great evening. In family philanthropy, our kids group, their first service project will kick off in December, and our teens group is entering its 10th year. We also have an interest circle of people who want to think more about family philanthropy, best practices, and lessons learned. So we hope that you will be a part of our programming this year in whatever way best suits your schedule and your interests, and know that at whatever level you choose to engage, you're a valued, crucial part of the SV2 community. And now, enough from me, we're going to actually move into the heart of our evening, which is hearing from our newest members of our portfolio, starting with our 2 newest impact investees. 2 years ago, SV2 expanded beyond traditional grant making to include impact investments in early stage mission-driven companies. In our first year, we made 3 investments in PastureMap, Learning Genie, and Nepris, some of whom I think are here tonight. And this past year added 2 new companies to our portfolio, Open Invest and Learners Guild, who we'll learn more about in this short video.
We all do our part to try and make the world a better place. with our friends, our family, and anywhere in between. But do you ever wonder where your money goes when you're asleep? With primitive ways of investing, you may be personally funding business practices that violate your values. That doesn't make much sense, does it? Especially when research has shown that more responsible companies, the kind you'd rather support, tend to perform the same or better than their peers. I know what you're thinking. Isn't investing complicated? Open Invest makes sustainable investing simple. Answer a few questions about your finances and what you care about, and in under 5 minutes, we'll set up your optimal portfolio. Easy, right? And for the first time ever, as you monitor your finances, you can also see how you're affecting the world. But that's not all. When an investable company does something important, we'll let you know. Include or exclude them with a swipe, share with others, and send a clear message to management. See what actions others are taking, and join or create a movement. In the background, Open Invest's advanced technology ensures your portfolio always remains diversified, optimized, and is designed to track the performance of the market. Your information is always kept safe. Investing should be honest and easy. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. With Open Invest, you can plan for your future, shape the world, and do well as companies do good. Together, we're making history. Come join us today.
My name's Sharif Bichet. I'm the founder of Learners Guild. We designed Learners Guild for people for whom the current system of education isn't working. There's a huge demand for software developers. But right now, the computer science industry and the software industry is very expensive to get into.
None of my friends and none of my family members are actually into the technology world at all.
I always thought that the tech industry was just something that I couldn't be a part of. It always seemed like it was a very exclusive club.
I wanted to build a pathway that works for everyone and that is accessible and inclusive and doesn't put you into debt.
All of a sudden there's this program, tuition deferment, 10 months, you get a stipend, and it's to make you the best engineer that you can be.
The first few times I saw the ads, I actually kind of thought it was a scam because you read what they're offering and you read about the program and you think this is way too good to be true. And then a friend said, oh yeah, that's done by the same people from Dev Bootcamp.
The way Learners Guild works is we invest in you time and money and mentorship and computers and real estate. We try and get you to a job, and if you succeed in getting a job, we make our money by taking a percentage of your salary. There's never a situation where you lose and we win.
I would be able to get this education and not have to worry about, staying afloat in the meantime.
First thing you're going to learn is how to be an amazing JavaScript web developer. Full stack from the front end to the back end. And if you don't know what that means, it's okay. You'll know what that means in the first few weeks at Learners Guild. And the second thing is, you're going to be amazing at learning itself. By the time you go through these 10 months, some of what you learned at the beginning is going to be obsolete. A true software developer is someone who is committed to continue to learn and is actually amazing at learning.
This is a good approach and it's working for me, so I'm really happy to be here.
There's a few other coding schools that are trying to do something similar, but none in the way that Learners Guild is doing it, in that come to our program for 10 months and we will invest in you, and when you're successful, we're successful.
You know this program is right for you because you are 100% passionate about becoming a software developer and you want to do it with other people. That's how you know that this program is right for you.
Inspiring? Pretty cool. So we're super excited to have these companies in our portfolio and really want to thank the Impact Investing Working Group, the partners who have brought that work to life for us. Now we're honored to hear from our 3 newest grantees, and I want to first introduce Kate Schwass, who's the Bay Area Executive Director of CollegeSpring. All of them are working to build broader pathways to opportunity in our community, so welcome, Kate.
Thank you you so much for having me. I'm tall, so we're gonna just like adjust this a little bit. Every time I learn about another organization, I'm like, that's amazing. I want to be a part of that. And I love that they have a profit too. That's a new world for me that I'm not involved in generally. Thank you so much for having me. As Jody just said, my name is Kate Schwass, and I am the Bay Area Executive Director for CollegeSpring. We were really honored to be chosen this year as a SV2 grantee, and so I'm really excited to get to talk about our work. As we've discussed, the theme of tonight's gathering is pathways to opportunity. CollegeSpring's story fits perfectly with this theme. We are an organization founded on the principle that all students deserve open pathways to the opportunities that they seek. I'm going to center my remarks tonight on two stories. The first is the story of the founding of our organization, and I'll take us all the way back to 2008 with a scruffy sophomore at Stanford named Garrett Nyman. After achieving a perfect SAT score in high school, yes, he's one of those people, he started an SAT tutoring business that paid his way through college. And while at Stanford, Garrett made a lot of friends with people who came from very different backgrounds than him and really credited particular college access programs with enabling their journey to college. And Garrett reflected on his SAT tutoring business and realized that through his business, he was continuing the inequity that exists, that those who can afford to pay for SAT prep can get it and can go to more exceptional institutions, and those who can't afford SAT prep don't. And their college options are usually very limited. Armed with the knowledge about the SAT and the support of his friends, Garrett and his co-founder, Jessica Perez, launched a summer volunteer program that served low-income students through a nearby Outward Bound program. This is the founding class back in 2008. Garrett is the middle white face in the middle row, all the way back in 2008. His friends taught these students a modified curriculum, and they shared their own college experiences. The results were dramatic. The students who participated in the program increased their scores over 200 points on average. They each ended up going on to college, and two even earned Gates Millennium Scholarships, which are full-ride scholarships to college, due in large part to their increased SAT scores. Based on the success of the initial program, Garrett literally cold called the Stanford Alumni Directory. I actually know for a fact that a few people were cold called by Garrett during that period of time in order to build a board of directors and in order to raise funds. What started as a very small volunteer organization has now become a national organization, serving over 5,000 students each year through over 40 partner schools and organizations in the Bay Area, in LA, and in New York. CollegeSpring continues to focus on supporting students from low-income backgrounds, and many of those students will be the first in their family to go to college. Our work is centered on this population because the facts are clear. Only 9% of low-income students will earn a college degree. And those who earn a college degree, on average, earn over $1.3 million over the course of their lifetime. So college educations play a crucial role in breaking the cycle of poverty. Now, there's many organizations that focus on helping students from low-income backgrounds achieve college success. Some organizations focus on the crucial social and emotional support students need. Others, such as You Aspire, our partners, focus on financial literacy or academic preparedness, and all of these organizations are necessary and do very important work. What sets CollegeSpring apart is our organizational focus. So by the junior year of high school, there's very little that can be done to improve your college eligibility. And there are two primary factors that almost all colleges look at more than any other when considering an applicant: GPA and SAT score. Now, GPA is fairly fixed by the time you reach your junior or senior year of high school, but the SAT can be a door opener or a door closer. It can unlock incredible new opportunities, or it can slam the door shut on college for many students. CollegeSpring focuses here on the SAT to dramatically improve the eligibility of the students that we serve. By improving SAT scores, not only do CollegeSpring students go on to college at a much higher rate than their peers, but they persist and graduate at a higher level. Why? because numerous studies have shown that the type of college a student attends frequently determines whether that student will persist and graduate. CollegeSpring's ambition is to help all students we work with go to colleges that truly reflect their academic potential. Now, I've told you a little bit about CollegeSpring's mission and organizational focus, and I want to tell you a little bit more about CollegeSpring Bay Area. But before I do, I also wanted to mention that I asked CollegeSpring's newly appointed CEO, Yoon Choi, to join me tonight. Yoon, will you wave? Yoon just joined the organization about 3 weeks ago as our national CEO. Our co-founder and subsequent CEO, Garrett, the guy, he has moved on to Harvard for a dual MBA and Master's in Public Policy. It's not usual that you leave an organization you founded to not retire, but then go to grad school, but that's the path that he took. And we have been extraordinarily fortunate to have Yoon join the organization as our next leader a few weeks ago. And we're hopeful that she'll get to meet a lot of folks tonight. Now I'm going to pivot and tell you a little bit about our work in the Bay Area. So it's my understanding that CollegeSpring Bay Area is the first time that a region within a national organization has been chosen as a SV2 grantee. So first, thank you very much. We very much appreciate your vote of confidence. And second, I wanted to tell you a bit of why I think CollegeSpring Bay Area is particularly exciting. So while CollegeSpring has existed in the Bay Area since its inception, we have recently been experiencing very dramatic growth. Over the last year, we've grown from serving about 400 students annually to 1,200 last year, nearly tripling our impact, and we're on track to serve somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 this next year. We're on track. Our team has also grown from a staff of 2 to a staff of 6. Our fundraising has doubled. Our fee-for-service revenue has tripled. We're partnering with a very diverse group of schools and partners, including charter schools, traditional public schools, private schools, and community-based organizations. And we've expanded to serve students in Richmond, Oakland, Berkeley, Hayward, San Jose, East Palo Alto, San Francisco, and Watsonville, because I'm a sucker for a new partnership. And while we're very excited about our growth throughout the Bay Area and the high demand for CollegeSpring's programs, we're inspired daily by the impact that our program has on individual lives. I'd like to close my remarks this evening by telling you about Ron Thompson. This is Ron. Ron was a student at Envision Academy in Oakland. He was the star basketball player on the team, but I hate to tell you that that wasn't saying much given the size of the school or the league that basketball team was in. Nevertheless, Ron was really hopeful that maybe basketball would be his ticket to college, but thought he probably would end up at a community college or have to be satisfied with achieving a 2-year degree. Meanwhile, his junior year, he and the rest of his classmates received CollegeSpring programming, and Ron's SAT scores improved over 200 points. And he later was admitted to Boston University on a full-ride scholarship with the Posse Foundation. Ron now has a dramatically different future, due in part to his hard work and in part to CollegeSpring. We caught up with Ron this summer before he left for Boston, and I asked him what he was looking forward to about college. Here's one of my favorite responses that he gave. Quote, "I want to study abroad. I want to go out of this country and get out of what's normal and be placed in an environment where I don't feel comfortable so I can adapt and test my skills. I want to learn a new language so I can communicate with different communities and a wider audience. And wherever I go, I just want to be comfortable. Just have that swagger, you know?" Love Ron. For Ron, college helped unlock a door to a new pathway. A pathway to a stellar institution like Boston University, a pathway that'll take him around the globe and expand his worldview. These are the stories that fuel our work and make all of this focus on something as simple as SAT prep incredibly powerful. Thank you for your support of CollegeSpring, and through that, your support of students like Ron. Thanks.
And it's now my pleasure to introduce, and pull the mic lower, Leslye Corsiglia, who is the Executive Director of SV at Home. Welcome, Leslye.
Thank you, Jody. It's really nice to be here with you tonight and really appreciate the opportunity to tell you about SV at Home, or Silicon Valley at Home. So we are a lightning grantee, and we're really excited to work with you and to work with SV2. So I'll start out a little bit about our organization and what we do. SV at Home is a housing policy and advocacy organization working to create affordable housing opportunities in the high-cost Silicon Valley. We were created, Kate's organization is old compared to ours. We were created 2 years ago, July of 2015, when a group of leaders came together and said, there was not an organization that worked 24/7 on housing in Santa Clara County. So there are other organizations around the Bay Area, but nothing in the South Bay. So after about 18 to 24 months of work with the community, we launched SV at Home and have began our work. We now are, as of January 1st, a 501c3 nonprofit. We went from 1 staff person in July of 2015 to 6.5 today. We expect to add another couple of staff by the end of this year. We're a little bit different. We have a little bit of a Silicon Valley twist as far as the work we do. So rather than working just solely on what you would consider affordable housing in the typical technical term of income-restricted housing for lower-income households, we really work on affordable housing on a little bit broader scale. So definitely we work to provide housing opportunities for the homeless, people on our streets, everyone from those who live on our streets to those who work for our leading employers. So we're concerned about housing affordability as well as affordable housing. So the teachers, the secretaries, the retail workers, all the different people who we need in our lives to be able to have a good community, we want to make sure that they have a place to live. So as a result, we focus not just on affordable housing, but on supply. So we recognize we have a supply problem. We need to create more opportunities for more homes, and we need to make sure that some of those homes are affordable to those who least can afford them. We're a membership organization, so we have a broad membership, and that includes people from the housing development community, both nonprofit and for-profit, government, and then really partners who've not worked much together, like labor and business and the Building Industry Association, along with equity organizations that usually don't work together in the same room. So what is it that we do? Ultimately, our goal is to create more affordable housing, more homes, and we want to make sure that people can live near where they work and that they don't have to overpay, and they don't overcrowd, and certainly that they don't live on our streets. So the biggest challenge that we have is getting community support and political will to build new homes. Most people, when they have a nearby lot that could be redeveloped, would prefer a park or a community garden or something like that. When you propose a housing project, that's when their concerns come up, and it's hard to cite a market rate development. It's really hard to cite an affordable housing development, and it's really hard to cite a housing development that is for the homeless and permanent supportive housing, which is something that we're really working to do. And it's sort of an example recently that we had, and you may have read it in the paper. I certainly saw. We had a community meeting when 700 residents came out in opposition to a project. And that is really, really tough for our elected officials to be able to say, I'm going to build this, even though 700 of my constituents came out with signs and with pitchforks and just fighting the project. So what we do is we work on education, information, statistics, messaging, and working directly with elected officials and with city staff to provide them with the data and information they need to get to that yes. We also work with community engagement to get more people and more voices out that are in support of housing. So it's not just those who are against projects that are coming to vote. So to guide our work, we did a policy roadmap that we released in May of 2016, so about 8 months into our organization. that has a variety of different policy goals and actions that we'd like to see. So we start with providing housing for all, which I talked about. So we want to have housing that's near transit, that's near jobs, so to make sure that we can include everybody in our community. We want to generate new resources for affordable housing. I'm going to talk about one of those in a minute. But we need to, affordable housing is challenging and housing costs are really crazy here, and as are development costs. So we need additional money to make sure that we can build affordable housing. We want to increase the land that's available for affordable housing, so looking at various options for that. And to incentivize production and preservation of affordable housing, because not just building new housing, we want to make sure that we don't lose the affordable housing that we have today. So we want to be able to preserve those mobile home parks, preserve housing that is at risk right now of conversion to another use. And then lastly, we want to implement creative and regional solutions to the housing crisis. So we recognize it's not a problem that just is within one city's borders or within a county, but it's a regional problem. So how do we all work together and to be able to respond? So the example that I wanted to talk to you about, we work on 1 million different policy items. We work with 15 cities and the county, and there's a lot going on, which just really is testament to the fact that housing and affordable housing is really a large concern. But I want to talk about Measure A. Many of you may know about it. Hopefully many of you voted yes for Measure A if you live in Santa Clara County. It's a $950 million bond that's providing housing largely to people who are chronically homeless or who are at risk of homelessness. And Silicon Valley at Home was one of the partners on the campaign team to get Measure A over the goal line. And so that was everything from working on the ballot language before it was placed on the ballot, to working as part of the campaign team in working through Get Out the Vote. So we did everything from walking the precincts to making phone calls to texting. I don't know how many of you got a text during this last election, but it's an interesting new way of reaching voters, and we got lots of very interesting responses to our texts. So I'm not sure how much I like that one. I prefer precinct walking. Anyway, we still need to work on this. So the voters did pass the measure. We got just eked out our 2/3 vote. So now we're working with the county, working with the development community, and working with other partners to site these projects. And as I mentioned, that's going to be tough. So we have our work cut out for us, but we realize it's not just about making policy, it's making sure that that policy turns into reality, and in this case, it's new homes. So again, in closing, just really want to thank you for this opportunity. We really appreciate SV2 as a partner, and someone said to me today, "Are you SV2 at home?" And so, no, SV at home. But thank you again.
And now, last but not least, is Barrie Hathaway, Executive Director of the Stride Center. Welcome, Barrie.
Good evening. I think I need to move this too, right? Well, first of all, I want to copy my colleagues and say thank you to SV2 staff and all of you SV2 partners. This grant that the Stride Center is receiving this year is a tremendous honor. And it was quite an interesting process. If you're close to it, you know that we submitted an LOI, and then we were shepherded to the next level. We submitted a full written proposal. We got through that level. Then we had a phone interview. We got through that level, and each time the number of candidates are narrowing, right? So every time I'd get off that meeting or get done with that meeting, I'd say, we made it to the next level. And so then there's a site visit, and then finally there's the final pitch, right? So this is a very engaged process, and a really good process. We had a lot of fun with it. And so to be awarded this grant is a significant amount of money for us. It's also an affirmation of our work, and we thank you very much for that. I want to change the story a little bit here because, looking at me today, you wouldn't think that I would be a person that would have benefited tremendously from the Stride Center when I was a young man, but I am. When I was in my first semester of college at 18 years old, much to my surprise, my girlfriend got pregnant, and I had to drop out of school so that I could get a full-time job, so that we could get married, so we could have a family. And I was 18 and poor, without any resources to speak of, no professional network, no marketable job skills. I was in trouble. And there was no Stride Center for me at the time, but there was a good friend's father who shepherded me and made introductions for me and helped me get to work for then a very flashy, cool company called Tandem Computers. Some of you will know that company. And from there, Sun Microsystems, and great companies, great jobs. My point is that I have been poor, and I have been that person who really needed somebody to put their hand out to me. And I have been in companies that now we get to usher our graduates to, and I know how great that is as well. So it's a great honor for me to work for the Stride Center and to be part of this whole system. So now let's talk a little bit about the Stride Center. There we are. No small things to do, right? So what we want to do at the Stride Center is we want to get at this question of equity in our state, in our region, big issue. We want to get at this question of diversity. How do we diversify the workplaces that so want to be diversified? And how do we impact economic mobility for very low-income men and women? This is the main questions we ask ourselves, and we have one primary strategy for that. The thing that I want to reinforce with you today that is so important to me in every conversation I have is we don't talk about the people who are learning at the Stride Center around their deficits. We don't talk about them being poor. We don't talk about them having barriers to employment. We talk about them as the talent that they really are, that employers in this region do not have access to if they don't have the kind of training that makes them available to the kinds of jobs employers need. And nowhere is that more important than in the tech field right now. There's a dramatic shortage of workers in the tech field. So what we're doing at the Stride Center is we're elevating that talent and we're connecting that talent to the companies that need them. We have a when you're poor, getting a quality education around something that's a highly technical professional job is going to be out of your reach. So what the Stride Center has done is created that opportunity, that very high level, high quality training, industry recognized technical certifications, and a series of other trainings that relate to how can I be really successful in these jobs? What does it take to be the top performer in these companies? And how do I adopt those skills and attitudes? How do I get a job? Well, how do I keep advancing in my career? These are the things the Stride Center does in addition to the core technical training. So we have enrolled about 4,000 adults up until now. That's over about an 18-year period. We're definitely the old organization at the table here today. Doesn't feel like 18 years is that old, but compared to 2 years old, I guess it is. We've enrolled about 4,000 people. We're at a clip of about 350 a year right now, so that means that in the next 18 years, it's going to be a lot more than 4,000 people. We have very good results. A high level of course completion, a high level of certification, a high level of job placement. So the program works, the model works, and I know that's what SV2 needs to see. Does it work? Is it achieving a pathway? And can we expand it, which is the case for us? So I talked about that, and I want to talk a little bit about SV2 because this is a really interesting organization to partner with. I mean, first of all, the amount of money that we're being given in this grant is material. It's going to move the dial for us in terms of the work that we're going to do here. That's important. But it's made more material because SV2 doesn't tell us how we can spend that money. It's called general operating funds. We can use it on whatever we see fit. They trust us after being in the process for a little while to make the right choices around that. So that's important. That makes that material amount of dollars even more material for us. And then, of course, we have this other thing, this beyond the dollars support. which we are very excited about getting started with. And I want to call out our Beyond the Dollars folks, Mark and Chris. We just met with our Beyond the Dollars partners for the first time a couple weeks ago. We're working out what is that way that the partners can engage with the Stride Center to help us achieve the things we're caring about in this particular case. We're very excited to get that rolling, and that's going to be interesting. I know there's a lot of thinking about how does this work and how can we make it work better, and we're going to be a partner in that process as well. So, but enough about you and enough about me. Let me just tell you a little bit about some of the people that the Stride Center serves. These two people in this picture actually right now are current Stride Center students, and I want to tell you about Andrew, the young man at the top of that. Andrew, when he was 18 years old, he's 25 or 26 now, when he was 18 years old, he got in trouble. Now think about being 18 years old and how many ways we could possibly get in trouble. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. He got in trouble and he went to jail. And he was there for 7 years. And while he was in jail, until about a year ago, by the way, while he was in jail, he said to himself, I will not have this be my life. I will not go back to jail. And this young man has just stolen all of our hearts and impressed all of us so completely. He said to me in a conversation we had the other day, we talked about his former incarceration and what he was thinking about that. And he said, look, I did that. That is where I've come from, but it does not define me. And I will not let that define me. And think about it, a young African-American man with no marketable skills and a record. What are his chances in our society? Just really think about that. If you're in this space, you know very, very low, right? So this young man says, I will not let that define me. And he's defining himself as a young man who's taken 4 of our courses, currently in the 4th, completed and certified. That's over a year's worth of training, because these are not 2-week workshops, 6 months, 3 months long courses. Finished his certifications, enrolled at college, so he's now doing one of our courses and he's enrolled at community college. He got a job working full-time while he was in the first class with us in the call center, got promoted to program manager, and now he's just waiting to finish his CCNA certification so he can go out and get that first big technical job in the field. There is no way on earth Andrew Hazelbaker would have been able to make that change without a place like the Stride Center, because he tells us, when I come to the Stride Center, I know I'm welcome and I know I'm okay, and I know from the way you look at me that I'm going to be successful. And he has been and he will be. So this is the work we're doing, and this is why we need your support. And in our work with SV2, we want to expand our programs here in the South Bay, and we want to work with as many of you as we can. If you work for a corporation that you think would be interested in partnering with an organization that is actually delivering talent to them, then let's talk. If you want to volunteer and help young people and people of all ages develop their professional skills, be more ready for the workplace, then let's talk. There's a lot of ways we can do that, but mostly I just want to thank you for this opportunity and be done with this talk. How's that? A little bit of an awkward end, but here it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Barrie, and thank you to all of our grantees, many of whom are here in the room tonight. We are so humbled and honored to work with you and appreciate your work in our sector. And now I hope that all of you will stick around for more conversation. There's coffee and dessert outside, and thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful evening.